Yeah, you need a ruler and compass.
I got it. I didn't see what we were doing.
Okay, so far we've talked about some special constructions, including constructing an inscribed square in a circle, constructing an inscribed regular hexagon in a circle, and constructing an inscribed equilateral triangle in a circle. Any questions about those constructions? Okay, so the fourth special construction we're going to talk about today is constructing a line of reflection. Okay, so the idea is they'll give you two figures, one of which is the reflection of another over a line that they don't give you. For example, maybe something like this, where they give you a triangle that looks like this, and then a second triangle that looks like this. Okay, and they would give you the coordinates, like for example, or not the coordinates, but the labeling. Like if this was, for example, triangle ABC, this would be triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. Now that's important because sometimes it's kind of hard to tell which vertex goes to which vertex, you know what I mean? Which point goes to which point. So by labeling it this way, you can easily tell that A goes to A prime, B goes to B prime, and C goes to C prime. And the instructions will be to construct the line of reflection that triangle ABC can be reflected over to get triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. Okay? So it'll say construct the line of reflection over which triangle ABC is reflected onto triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. So just thinking about like what your final results should be, it's just going to be a line that goes down the middle, right? But if you just drew the line down the middle with no markings, you get 0 points for that construction. So don't just do that, okay? But it's really a really simple construction. Anybody have an idea of what you could do to get that line of reflection? Yeah, what do you think?
You can look at how far C and C prime are apart and then just take the middle.
Okay, that's a great idea. Take the middle. We know how to find midpoints. But more importantly than that, like, okay, so say I had this line here. I don't want to draw it because I don't want to mess up my picture. But say I had this line here in a midpoint. How do I know if the line goes this way or that way or that way or that way? Or, you know what I mean?
You do it for every point.
What's that?
You do it for every point.
Oh, that's a good idea. That would definitely work. Okay, does everybody understand what he said? We could just go for C prime, draw in that segment, find the midpoint, and then go to A prime, draw in that segment, find the midpoint, and then just connect them. You wouldn't even have to do all three. You could just do any two, right? Because any 2 points determine the line. That would definitely work. There's a little bit more streamlined way to do it. You have an idea?
We do the bisector.
The bisector is the midpoint.
Not the bisector. I forgot the word.
I know what you mean. The perpendicular bisector.
Perpendicular.
Yeah, because if you do the perpendicular bisector, it'll automatically go through all those points. So that's exactly right? Because you know that to get from here to here, you go perpendicularly to the line of reflection and then across it the same distance. So using that fact, if you just drew the perpendicular bisector of any segment, either AA prime or CC prime, just do it once. Draw that perpendicular bisector, and that's going to be the line of reflection. Does everybody understand how that works? Okay, so I'll write out the step-by-step instructions and do it, and then I'll do it once on Delta Math, and then you can get started. So step 1 is to draw the line segment connecting any point with its image point. So you could pick A prime, you could pick B prime, or you could pick C prime. I wouldn't pick B prime because it might be a little confusing, the fact that it actually goes through the triangle. You know what I mean? I would always pick like the ones that are closest together. That seems like the easiest route for me. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to draw the line segment A prime. So using my ruler, I'm just going to connect A and A prime. I just sketched this on paper, so it's probably not exact, but you get the idea. Step 2 is to draw the perpendicular bisector of that segment, and you're done. That's it. So step 2. Step 2 is to construct the perpendicular bisector of the segment from step 1. Okay, so remember that construction is you take your compass, you open it more than halfway, right? You put the point of the compass at one end point, you open the compass more than halfway, and you draw an arc. Then you flip your compass around, and you go to the other side and draw the same size arc. And then you just connect it. That's it. So this line is going to be this, and that's it. That's the line of reflection, that perpendicular bisector. Now, if you had done it the way that Zenas suggested, it would be 100% credit. They wouldn't mark that wrong. But you're really doing twice as much work if you think about it, right? Because you got to do this process to find the midpoint of A, and then you got to do this process to find the midpoint of the CC prime. So you'd be doing twice as much work, so there's really no need. All right, let's just do it one time on Delta Math, just so you can see how the problems will look. So it's kind of like what I just gave you. They're going to give you a triangle and its image, just like that. And read the directions carefully. It says your final answer should be a blue line. So make sure you use the line drawer to do that. This time I'll do D prime. So I'm going to draw, bless you. I'm going to draw a segment from D. Bless you.
Thank you.
Just let it flow. So I'm going to draw the segment from D to D prime, and then just do the construction for perpendicular bisector. That's it. So I center the compass at D and open it more than halfway, and make sure you make the markings, pencil. Then keeping the compass the same, move it down to D prime and make the marking this way. And then you just select line, make sure you do blue line. And remember, in order to have, like, you don't want to start your line way out here and draw it. Even if it goes through these points, it's going to say it's not. So you got to like pick that point and then pick that point, and then that's the answer. That's it. So that's the line of reflection. So submit, yep, and that's it.
Oh, that's not even low.
What's that?
That's pretty high.
Oh, well, Yeah, this computer is a little more powerful than your Chromebooks. Yeah. Okay. Any questions about the construction? Okay, so make sure you finish your homework before Monday. Let's do Monday, right? There's these two, inscribe regular hexagon, inscribe equilateral triangle, and then this homework on line of reflection, and that's it for the week. But hopefully you've been given plenty of time and you won't have to worry about it over the weekend. Any questions? Okay.